With Pirahna Plant now available and Joker from Persona 5 coming at the end of April, we are now 1/3 in the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's downloadable fighters. The base game is actually big enough as it is. How do you think Ridley got in? And it's only getting bigger with the remaining DLC fighters who has yet to be revealed. It is certainly going to live up to its title as the Ultimate Super Smash Bros. So the only question remaining is who could they be? Well, no one knows other than Nintendo who decided on which characters are going to show up. So here's the thing. Joker is already such an unexpected character that has set the bar for what the upcoming DLC will contain. I can't think of any way to top that. So I decided that I'm not going to be aiming higher with my predictions. Instead, I'm just going to play it safe. I'm not sure if any of my predictions will ever turn out to be right, but it's worth a shot. My first prediction, and actually this isn't so much prediction as it is a pick, and it's the character that I wanted to see in Smash since 2015, and is my #1 most wanted honest to god all or nothing pick for Smash Brothers, and that is Lloyd from Tales of Symphonia. That game was my life in my late teenage years. I played this game on the GameCube in 2005, and the more I played it, the more I fell in love with everything about it. I even played the sequel that came out for the Wii in 2008, and I don't want to talk about it. Anywho, he got a Mii Fighter costume in Smash 4, which cheesed me off at first. But the fact that he did get some form of representation meant there was probably some interest in him being a playable fighter in the future. After all, the same thing happened with Inkling, Chrom, and King K. Rool. Well, that and the Fire Ballad played a factor in all of that. And another thing, how is it that Bandai Namco co-develops the game but only has Pac-Man as the sole playable fighter? Well, Square Enix only has one because they're stingy, but Sega, Capcom, and Konami has 3 fighters each. And out of all Bandai Namco's top franchises I can think of besides Pac-Man, there's Tekken, Soul Calibur, Tales of, Dark Souls, maybe Dragon Ball. Now of all those series, Tales of has had the most history on the Nintendo platform. It's a fairly big JRPG series in Japan, up there in Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest at one point, and Tales of Symphonia was the game that put the series on the map on the western side. And alongside Tales of Vesperia is one of the more popular titles in the series, but I'm fairly certain that Lloyd has the highest shot at Smash than any other Tales of protagonist. My second prediction is Dino from Super Mario RPG, and he isn't exactly someone that I want to see in Smash as much as I do Lloyd, but I'd be excited to see him in. Heck, I actually wanted to believe that glitch leak was true, even though it was a load of bollocks. Dino seems to be a highly requested character in the Smash community, especially amongst those that actually played Super Mario RPG. And just like Lloyd, the fact that he got a Mii Fighter costume in Smash 4 means there might be some interest in him being a playable fighter somewhere down the line. Speaking of which, Lloyd and Gino's Mii Fighter costumes aren't in the base game. I'd assume that as a sign of their eventual inclusion, and or maybe Nintendo was saving them as downloadable Mii Fighter costumes. There is one drawback that I see if Dino does make it in. Stingy Square Enix. If Cloud's of any indication, the most Dino will ever come with is only a few original music tracks because Square Enix is stingy when it comes to Smash Brothers. Heck, they even bothered to give it the alternate artwork for Cloud's Fire Spirit. Whatever. Anyway, each calendar pack consists of one fighter, one stage, and several music tracks. Now, several can mean any amount from 3 up to 8 or 9. Knowing squinty Square Enix, they might just toss in the bare minimum of 3 original music tracks and call it a day. Then again, what with Octopath Traveler, The World Ends With You, and several Final Fantasy games, including 7 on the Nintendo Switch, one can hope that Square Enix might allow Nintendo a bit more leniency with their IPs. Also, I kinda want to see Nier Automata port onto Nintendo Switch, but I digress. My third prediction is a really long shot, and it's Banjo and Kazooie from Banjo Kazooie. There is almost no chance of this ever happening, and I'll be legit surprised if it actually does. But if there would ever be a Microsoft rep from Smash Brothers, and that is a big if, it can only be a character that's had some history with Nintendo, so that basically means Master Chief from Halo is out of the question. The Banjo Kazooie series was once a Nintendo published series back when Rare was under them, and it had 2 games on Nintendo 64. And then there were 2 other spin-off games that were published by THQ on the Game Boy Advance. And when Microsoft bought Rare, Banjo Kazooie went with them, and there was that game on the Xbox 360 that straight up killed the series. But we all know that Smash Bros. Like to treat third-party characters better than their own creators, so they might throw a bone for Banjo and Kazooie. Plus, Microsoft and Nintendo are like buddy-buddy now when it comes to cross-platform multiplayer like in Minecraft, Fortnite, and such. So one of Microsoft's characters in Super Smash Bros., especially the character that used to be a Nintendo-owned character, might be what comes next in this budding relationship. And my last but not least prediction is Elma from Xenoblade Chronicles X. Now, all of my predictions up until now have been third-party characters, but I feel as if Nintendo might throw in at least 1 or 2 of their own characters in the Fighters Pass to make it an even balance of first and third party. But you're probably asking, why Elma and not Rex from Xenoblade 2? Well, I'm looking at the Sakurai's words that Rex didn't quite make the cut as a fighter. So here's the thing, when Xenoblade 2 was announced, the Smash Ultimate base roster was already set in stone, so Sakurai most likely couldn't consider Rex for Smash. So with that in mind, that basically leaves only Elma as the last remaining Xenoblade protagonist that has a chance to Smash. Now, maybe I just haven't played through much of Smash Ultimate and unlocked enough music tracks and spirits and what have you, but I haven't seen a whole lot of anything from Xenoblade X. There are spirits from that game, including Elma, and I do not believe that spirits eliminates the character's chances for Smash, but not even one single music track from Xenoblade X on Kyle playing? Now, that might be due to some licensing roadblock, or that Xenoblade X is a standalone game apart from Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and 2, so they didn't really want any of that music on that stage. Even so, that's kind of a disappointment because Xenoblade X has some real bangers. Praise Hiroyuki, someone knowing this nonsense lyrics. And another thing, hear me out. I might be wrong here, but do we have a sword fighter / gunner hybrid character in Smash yet? I don't think so. So, Elma using dual swords and dual guns, which she does in her original game, that could make her some interesting character builds. And those were our predictions for the next DLC fighters. I didn't want to talk about moveset ideas because I didn't want to go into that much detail, although I admit I have been brainstorming some potential movesets for Lloyd. This DLC is either going to blow our minds or disappoint us all, maybe both. If Joker's of any indication, is currently on the side of blowing our minds. Like I said before, I'm not sure any of my predictions will be correct, only time will tell, but I'm hoping at least one of them will be correct. I know someone who I don't want to see in Smash Bros. Goku.